Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where I review the latest movies and documentaries. Today, I'm going to talk about Arcadian movie. If you're interested in this topic, make sure to watch this video until the end and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. The story begins where big molesters have attacked this world. Looking dangerous, they started hunting humans and killing them. Even humans have become extinct in this world. I don't understand where this master came from. Some people thought that this was a punishment for their crimes, while others thought that perhaps it was the bite of a nettle or poisonous insect that caused such infections in humans. No one knew the real reason behind all the stories. In the same town, we are shown a survivor, who at this time was collecting the things he needed in Chiptown itself. Then suddenly the sirens start wailing. He runs to save his life. While passing through, there was danger all around him. This danger was the attack on the residents of Harani of monstrous and bombs. The world was echoing with noise and the sky was full of black smoke. Ball went inside a hallowed house to wait for the danger to pass, where two poor little children were crying. Paul adopted them. After which Sahanu's time passed and it was shown that the children whom Paul had adopted grew up as time passed. Now he would also help Paul in collecting supplies, but he had to come back inside the house before nightfall. Because till now in this world, there were more stress at night, we used to roam around even today with our daily routine. According to the evening, Ball's son Joseph was appointed. He kept his dog inside the house and pretended to be the overseer of all the games in the house and was standing outside waiting for Thomas who, as usual, was late today. As soon as Thomas arrives, he starts giving his explanation. "Baba, do you know how much I like working in the farm? It gets late before leaving from there." Thomas used to work on these farms. In effect, they belong to his neighbors. Ball points out from here that if next time he is not late, then even the children will not be allowed to come out of the pond. These people check the doors and windows before eating food, whether they are unlocked or not. After this, they had a wonderful dinner of rahat, and right in the middle of the teaser, Joseph makes fun of going in commerce form because it was known that Holmes used to like his neighbor. It was just Joseph's class that he got so angry that a scuffle started between the two, and here, he just said this out of anger. "Sit down, you guys are humans, not animals, who fights so badly." Suddenly the pawn notice says that her tonk had rubbed the floor repeatedly today in an unachievable manner. The door also opened to them as if someone was knocking on it. When Thomas and Paul go to check, they discover that they have been avoiding this danger for so many years. Today the same danger was at their doorstep. They were trying to enter their house. Paul and Thomas try to force the door shut so that Cricket can get in. Here we explain this loss. "What are you doing sitting there? Why won't she come and help us? She is also watching. How big is the problem?" In response, Joseph says, "No, I was noticing his behavior. He first knocked for 20 seconds, then knocked for 10 seconds, and then for the last time he knocked for a while and went away." Joseph believed that even for a second the creator who had knocked in the door was checking the door first. For the second when he knocked, his power was too much. This was probably his first attempt to break the door, but when the door did not open, he finally got exhausted and knocked and went away. Key listens to these things carefully. Now the morning comes. The knowledge had escaped them for the time being. Going outside, Paul sees a "Don't lose for one" sign on the door. The whole day is spent in work. The ball notice says that Thomas did a lot of work today, but Joseph did not leave the pile all day. When he goes to check on him, Joseph is trying to build a car. When the ball goes inside, he looks at it and says, "I am fed up with this scared life every day. I want to run away from here. That is why I was just making this." After checking the car thoroughly, Paul could not help but praise Joseph. He doesn't know how, but this freight car was made. After making a few changes, it also moves. Paul happily takes them for driving lessons and sends them both to drive to Eversight. Thomas was booked because he obstructed. The call to take Thomas to the farms says, Thomas's work is more important today, so Thomas makes a face and leaves with Joseph. But his mood improves only when Joseph turns his car towards the farms. Thomas happily stays inside. Arj says, "You go wherever you want. Just pick me up from here when you come back. On the other side we see Pawn, who was seeing monsters' punch marks on the door of his house. He fixes these doors with a new piece of wood and then goes towards the waterfall to have a good time with himself. Where without her a mysterious black color, on the other hand, Joseph had also come on the liver side. He arms himself with a wrist rest and goes inside the ship. He had to do supply security from here. I look, and as soon as he comes near a compartment where he was in the capital school, a lot of bunks suddenly attack him. Her body was completely covered, but she still wanted to pass the time somehow. To save his life, Joseph had to leave Hassan. Thomas was busy working at Peath Phones, but the work was just an excuse. After working here he meets his friend. These people had a good time sitting near one side, under which side they had been sitting since childhood. These people become sad while talking because even these people have not been able to solve this puzzle till now, or how has this condition of this world happened. Apollo sees that it is approaching evening. They have to return home before the sun sets, so Thomas runs outside, and before they can do anything, Paul, who returned from the waterfall at 2:30 p.m., was also worried to see that his dog was out of the house. Whereas both his sons have not yet come home, Joseph quickly starts the car and sets out to return while Thomas runs towards his own house, but gets stuck inside a strange pit in the middle of all this. As soon as Joseph arrived to pick her up, he found Thomas nowhere to be found. Seeing this, he gets very nervous, and as he doesn't understand anything, he quickly goes to his senses and tells his dad the whole story of how he had left Thomas in the formation. But now he could not find Thomas anywhere. AKA Joseph's, what did you guys say? Okay, for now you relax, let them in. Lock all the windows properly. I'm going to find Thomas with the dog. He left the house. Here we are now shown the scene of the clock in which Thomas was trapped. There was darkness all around. Thomas tries to see inside this pot by lighting a stick on fire with the lighter he has. He was shocked when he saw a strange black hand here. Before this, a monster attacks Thomas. Here Thomas takes out a bat from himself and attacks this creature's hand. As soon as he did this, the monsters became angry. That monster comes out saying this. Before this, Thomas goes behind, but behind him too there was a very nice monster who had badly grabbed Thomas's mouth. Thomas was finding it difficult to even breathe, and before he could come to his senses, Thomas arrived to save him. Grabbing the creature from behind, he first freed Thomas from its hands and then killed him badly with his knife. Thankfully, Thomas's life was saved. But now the issue was that it was already late in the night. We were in the dense forests. There was no danger in making another run towards the place, which were monster schools out in the open at night. This poor thing seems like a tunnel to them. While walking in this, these people reach a strange crack in the ground. Ball felt that it would be safe to spend the night here. To protect themselves, these people even block the entrance of this place. They had just closed the entrance. Suddenly this monster starts roaring. As soon as he gets wind of the session, Paul makes it famous with the few things he has. As soon as he did this, a terrible glimpse came inside his crack. His dog also suffered again and again. Paul was indicating the presence of some danger and became aware of the kind of people these people are under the ground. Right above him were your monsters whom he had been avoiding for many years. The farmers start covering this type of soil from the top as well. It clearly meant that this place was a drop created by them in which both Thomas and Paul were trapped, and now these monsters were locking them here. Paul had no other way to save his life. That's why, to scare the monsters, he takes his famous one out through a small crack. As soon as Moister saw this, he became angry, opened the crack and tried to get inside the cave to attack them. As soon as she came in, I pulled her arms out of her opening, and to make her feel better, Paul gave me a blast here with small things. He himself was injured in the blast. Even here at home, Joseph could hear voices speaking. He was also planning to escape from them. He sits keeping VJ in front of him. A rope was also tied to him along with the city. While sitting, he suddenly fell asleep, but the monster tests were still present outside the house. Mostar was also keeping an eye on Joseph from a very small clue of the door. Seeing Joseph sleeping, he removes the wood from the door and then looks at Joseph and says that he has really slept. That is, he will write this love. He lengthens his nail like a magical wand and takes it closer to her nose. When Joseph did not react, the monitor also understood that he was really sleeping. Monstrous opens the door and comes inside. As soon as he came inside, Joseph used the scissors tied to his chair, and in less than a second, they came down on one of them and the monster got captured in it, and it was confirmed that Joseph was actually Sayani. Everything that happened here was his plan. He puts a blanket over the monster. It was already morning. Till now there was no trace of the remaining people. He did not come back. He goes out in the car to find them. Whereas on the other hand, we now see Thomas, who is trying to open the entrance completely, after which he somehow manages to pull Paul out from inside the trap. His dog had also come outside. He heard the sound of Joseph's car from a distance. Running, he reached Joseph and brought him to Thomas and Paul's. Seeing me, Joseph also got excited. These two brothers together put Paul in the car and bring him home. Paul needed treatment. While they were still talking, suddenly Thomas noticed a cage here. As soon as he lifted the blanket over the cage, everything inside him told him to put it back. This light hurts these monsters. Joseph explains that perhaps two monsters had come here on Kirit and he caught one of them. These masters are more perfect than us. He wanted to study these masters. What does performance tell him? Dad, Drath has blasted a lot of monsters inside that crack. On this day he gets shocked and says to his dad, okay, if you have really done something like this, then those monsters will definitely come to take revenge. That's what I said. He is very right. After that, Thomas felt like crap. He was even protecting this monster kept in his house. He quickly opens its latch while Joseph keeps refusing him. Being scared, he goes to the monster and sits down. Seeing Mostar, his talk was barking outside. Hearing from his voice, my behavior changed completely. This most fearsome rake suddenly became as brave as a lion, and now he came towards Thomas and Joseph to attack. To avoid its attack, Joseph tried to keep him away with his stick, and without wasting even a second, Thomas took his axe and separated his neck from his body. Finally, he was also dead, but Chorsaf wanted to study him. That is why he picked up the dead one. He does not go to his basement. He spent a lot of time studying that time, but he still could not understand what kind of monster it is. They are like humans, they are like animals. He has not understood anything yet. Thomas came to him saying all these things. Actually, he wanted these people to take Paul to Rose's house. Because they had a lot of forms, they had a nice and better house with a fence outside. They were safe from stress there, and they could also get medicine for their phones there. But Joseph was worried because his neighbors would not help him. But then Thomas, these people make them sit in the pole copy case and take their desire. According to Joseph, they refused to help them, saying that they neither have more medicine nor these people of high supply can keep 3 people in their homes. They call them daily diet at home. Yes, if Thomas should live here, he can live because he used to help him a lot to work in everyday forms. After hearing this, Joseph flew to come back. Thomas emanated him, but here he was very angry. From him, I tell the vomit directly to Thomas that you are the one who took Dad to the face of death. Get away from here. Thomas got angry with his words. Here the scuffle of these two also started once again. Thomas was killing Tushev, but again he was released that he was saying wrong, so he stood up from himself. Joseph came back and drove his car and fainted. Dad took these pawn, left from here, while Thomas remained near the daily friend. Here Thomas gets good food to eat and takes it to her room every day. Here the ball was brought home. On the way he notices that the animals were running very fast. This meant that they were moving under the ground. As soon as he comes near the house, he saw a mercy close to his house. He understood that this crack was made to them by the monsters. That is, his thinking was perfectly fine. These monsters came here to take revenge, and now he also had to be ready for war. He first looks at the sex place and then starts preparing a new plan by collecting things up his house. And all the windows of Singal started closing the doors and everything was going on. Then suddenly he got stuck in the pit made in the ground inside the house. All of them understood that the monsters have already reached their house through this pit, making them from under the ground. On the other hand, we see daily houses. Thomas was searching for his kitchen where he follows him every day. He explains every day that he is not a thief. He is just upset for his diet and has been away from medicine. Given her problem, she gives medicine daily. Thomas hugs him by calling him thankful. Another gets out of here. It happened while saying that he will definitely come back. All these things were heard by daily cement. As soon as he comes out, he gives a gun over Thomas. He was calling him a thief, but Thomas tries to do everyone or not. He has allowed this medicine to rot himself. He did not steal anything, but no one here will be ready to listen to him. These people could also shoot standing here, but they all go to Rome and go to Rome once and go there and say ma music on. He tied Thomas to the ground. A man stands away and takes a gun on him. He was going to shake the mark on him, but before that the bullet was fired. Suddenly the ground breaks from under his leg and he falls inside the ground. The second man who went here quickly goes to check him and comes out from here at the same time. Hearing the noise of a very big black monster in Monsters, the daily parents also went inside the house. After all, what was happening on the other side? To check these, daily dads went to a candle. As soon as it starts turning back, the Foini attacks Agaria. It was so dangerous for one that he could not control it. In his hand, the sood candle also fell there, causing the curtains to burn. In view of the wife, Mostar left the man and grabbed the daily mom to save his wife. Daily dad holds this moisturize and pulls backwards and everyday mob quickly gets up and run towards the left to find everyday. But before that, she can want the monster to catch her and kill her badly in her body. She was listening to this residential in her room. She did not know. Due to many Nawas, both his parents have been killed. As soon as this voice stopped, she moves out of her room to check. He was seen lying on a shocking phone. Following him, she went to the washroom of her dad and she shouted as soon as she left because her mom and that big accident was a monster. In the second part of the house from where Thomas was kept in the dam, she had killed all the people for the place and now she was studying towards Thomas. Thomas quickly moves hands and feet to protect himself. Hardly rescuing himself, he had tried to run backwards, but he would fail in this effort because now the master was in front of him to kill him. But in time, they enter here every day, with a gun and he shoots the monster and kills him. These people survived this monster. Quickly people run out running and Thomas sees that the whole house of Daly has burnt. Rosa states from here that his parents were also killed. Thomas is sad to hear this. But now there was no time for these things. In the emergency, these people diced to go to Thomas's house where Joseph is still planning to fight for them. Winning was also celebrated for him in his house. Joseph had felt those thorough with all the furniture in his house. After making his complete preparation, he loves his unconscious dad's head and comes out for this battle with monstrous. Suddenly the small of her door opens. He looks nervous, but it came with Joseph's mother-in-law after seeing Thomas and Rosting. Thomas came here to support his brother and Joseph also needed him. Now those people were talking the same things or suddenly Uday. Paul's voice used to come from behind, which was conscious. Both of them are happy to see his senses. Thomas brought medicine for him or gives him medicine and here the ball tells him that it was time to fight for the last time. Joseph shares his plan with the rest of the two people here and these people start collecting petrol on all the gas they have. After throwing petrol in the house and keeping gas cylinders, he used to keep one of his old freezers in the entire police station. Every day the child should also close windows. After this, all the biles, small croctors and such things that could be fired, spread it in their house. Even the cigarettes of their dad had all these preparations. He sees that he covered Jesus' hole made of moisturize with furniture. Now the furniture started shaking. They have come here on the mall streg and on the other side, there is a ball in the Jesus room. A master has also come to the room of the ball from his chimney. Here the monster had also left from inside the hole, on which Thomas attacks from behind. But this most does not die. Volta attacks Thomas, and in the earlier Thomas, more and more attacks him by attacking him. A third monster had attacked here every day. To save his life, he shoots it with his gun and kills it. Meanwhile, he has a blood ball with blood, which was attacked by Monster, but he too had succeeded in most Kumar. A lot of monsters came here one after the other. They shoot them with their guns, but despite taking so many monsters out, many monster had come to them. Paul's gun was over the bullets. If someone kills someone with his gun bag, then somewhere from behind, and Joseph killed these monsters, but the number of monsters was going on. To protect themselves, it asks to work on this timely plan that the 3 jackets sit in the free set that people came inside the house. After which Paul sets fire to this entire house. The entire house is one due to wood, furniture and petrol from place to place. There was a blast like a bomb. A lot of mons were dead in Jesus' blast, kept moving for a long time, and when he slipped, he felt who would be there a little there. These people quickly came out again and tried to find Paul, who did not see it there. As soon as Joseph raises a wooden piece, a monster to below was also burning at this time, trying to attack him. It is to save themselves. These people immediately come out of the pile and sit in the air and start running from here through the car. But the master, making himself in the shape of a tire, was behind them. Every day he was attacking him with his gun, but no bullet was impacting them. As it comes close to them, the type made of monster comes close to them. They say an attack on them with their guns bag and it breaks down there, but they did not stop driving. Going to miles away, he saw that the monsters were no longer chasing them. These people were safe. At this time, these 3 eyes are on the sky. The work shining on the sky was seen today because every night these people used to be closed in their house before this view. But finally the monsters were over. Whenever he comes back home in the morning, there was nothing there. Then people say the balls and daily parents and took some of their other things. They decide to go somewhere away from here, but it was sure that now they will not have to fight such a war, and this story ends by showing these 3 together. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this movie and what other movies or documentaries you want me to review next. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching and see you next time.